going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I've got a really great one for you. Now, I've been scouring YouTube looking for a couple different video ideas, and I constantly keep coming across this one concept that resonates in my mind. That's the idea of people in their 30s looking back at their 20s and saying what they wish that they knew or wish that they did. And so now that I'm in my 20s, right, I'm 26, I want to make a video that is exploring what I'm actively doing to become a millionaire in my 30s. There's really 7 main things that I'm doing, and I think that if you can do them alongside of me, we're going to be setting ourselves up great financially for the future. And anyways, let's just jump right in. One of the most important things that I take away from all of these videos is that these people wish they started earlier, whether they wanted to start saving earlier, start investing earlier, they wish they had more time. And for me, I feel like that's the most beneficial thing that I've had. And I realized that from pretty early on age. As soon as I was 18, I actually started dabbling in the stock market. I was doing some pretty stupid trades, kind of like gambling. And then I quickly put myself in order and got myself in a place and understood, investing takes time. You're not going to see the best results. You're not going to see them overnight. But if you set yourself up and invest and, save and have those ground principles, it's going to be the best path to that success. So in order to foster your saving and investing, there are a number of different things you need to do. But the first and foremost thing I think is super important, which is a complete 180 of how I used to think, is creating a budget. I used to not really spend all that much money, and I didn't even need to think twice about having a budget. But then you start to grow up a little bit and take on expenses of your own. So obviously when I'm living under my parents' roof, fortunate enough that they could financially support me, I didn't have to pay for things like a phone bill, a car bill, things like that. Once you start getting and graduating on from that aspect of life, you start to understand why a budget becomes necessary, because you start spending out the door. There's so many impulse buys. There's so many things going on. And, marketing modern day is extremely targeted, and they do such a good job of figuring out exactly what you want, not what you need, but what you want, and do a really good job of selling it. So you start shelling off, so much money in that aspect, the Amazons of the world, things like that. And so creating a budget where you're actually putting your money away first, so you're actually saving and then setting aside some of your play money or fun money, right? Then that makes it all the much easier to start shoveling cash into the market. Same note, I think it's extremely critical to understand what you actually need and what is just a want. So a lot of times I delay that gratification. If there's something that I want to get, I'll usually write it down and give myself some time to buffer. Like if I want it in a week from now, then it's something that it might be worth buying. But if it goes past that week, and usually it does, I don't really need it, then I won't get it. Now, the third thing that I think is super important towards building yourself towards $1 million, becoming a millionaire, is being educated, right? And there are a lot of different ways that I'm educating myself. Well, first, I actually went to college, which, some people agree with, some people disagree with, but there's definitely a lot of majors out there that you want to make sure you go to college. And on top of that, it's educating yourself through different vehicles such as investments, right? What is the stock market like? What is the real estate market like? What are the pros and cons to each? How does it work? And so taking that extra step, and honestly, like documenting this journey on YouTube really helps me stay true to those principles and really learn, because what I like to do is break down investing and break down financial concepts in a way that's easily understandable, how I'd like it to be described to me. And I think that's what potentially resonates really well here on YouTube, and where I've seen success in the growth of this channel. It's because it's more personable, it's easier to relate to, and it's not really complicating it. It's not really sketchy, right? There's a lot of people who are out there that tell you exactly what investments to make, or they try to get your money so they can leverage it. But honestly, it's so much more beneficial to understand the concepts for yourself and take the reins of your financial stability. The fourth thing that I'm doing is really just diversifying my investments. So I'm educating myself in several different ways, but I'm also making sure that I'm investing in different ways, right? So when I think about the investments that I'm currently holding, I've got investment portfolios, both invested in growth and dividend oriented. I also have a well-diversified funds of ETFs that I'm holding, a lot of different stocks that are within that. So I'm diversified in that investment realm. Now I also hold some Bitcoin, which, cryptocurrency gets a little bit iffy out there, but I do have a small percentage allocated into cryptocurrency. So that's just another way that I'm diversifying my money. Obviously an emergency fund of about 6 to 8 months of my living expenses, which is super essential to anybody out there. And then I also have a real estate property, this duplex that I'm living in right now, and we'll be renting out the bottom unit. So that's just another form of cash flow that I'll be receiving. And honestly, looking at the stock market, the market that I've invested in has done extremely well in terms of dividend income and dividend growth, and in those areas where I'm actually outpacing the market right now, which is awesome to see. And in terms of real estate, I got in at a really, really great time where my my rate is like 2 3/4, so it's extremely low. When now it's up over 7-8%, and there's no really sight of that lowering in the near future anyways. So it's been really, really good. Market appreciation on the place that I own alone has gone up nearly $100,000, which is something that you never typically see within the first year or two of owning property. So got in at a really, really good time with that, and have been able to capitalize and maximize that investment potential. So the fifth thing that I'm trying to do really diligently is set goals, both life goals and financial goals, but short and long term as well, because I think it's super important. I'm nailing these short term goals in order to work my way up to that long term goal. And a lot of people, that long term goal is retiring at 65 years old. For me, that's unacceptable. I want to be an early retiree. And in order to do that, I need to make sure that I have milestones that I'm able to check off and be able to know that I'm on track for what I actually want to do. Now, along the way, it's really helpful because even if I don't necessarily hit the goals that I'm setting, and I tend to set goals that are harder for me to achieve, it just sets me on track even more for later on, right? Because it's not going to hinder being able to retire at 65. It's being able to retire at an earlier age. So I'm just really laser focused on getting that done. Now, the sixth thing that I'm doing is investing regularly, pretty much daily at this point. And for a while I was actually halted from it because I was going more into real estate. There were a lot of issues going on there, and I had to allocate my funds in that manner. But even when that was happening, everything that I've put into this property, every single dollar that I have done, is an investment in itself. So I'm really satisfied with how this whole project has turned out at this point, and it's only up from here, right? And now I'm finally getting back into the stock market, which ironically enough, it was almost like I had timed it, right? I had sold some stocks to afford some of the real estate stuff that I was doing, pretty much bolstered up this real estate investment. And then as that was happening, the stock market was crashing and there has been a lot of panic. And so now that I'm actually buying stocks, I feel like they're at a pretty good price point. And yeah, they might drop a little bit more, but I continue to invest every single day. And that's just going to dollar cost average and make it that much easier. So the more money, realistically, like where I'm spending my money, I pretty much make money. It's going into the real estate investment or it's going back into the stock market. And then I'm also getting things like groceries and necessities to live. But investing for me, putting money into the stock market, releases this like dopamine, and it gets me really fired up and excited as I know that I'm taking that next step towards my financial freedom. Seventh and most important thing that I'm doing is just building out these different income streams and really valuing my time, right? And so for me, having this side business of YouTube where I can generate a decent amount of revenue from, it is so important for me to have because it allows me to just continue shoveling money back into the stock market, investing it, growing it. And it's like this repeatable cycle where I'm making more money's going into the market, that money's making me money. And every dollar that I earn and spend, it's making me more money. So it's really cool to see. And it's like coming together before everyone's very eyes. I mean, you can look back at some of the videos and chart the entire journey that I've had financially. And I'm going to continue doing that, which is just something that really fires me up because when you look at it at face value, like I am the most average person. You go back to those first videos and they're so cringy. And then you look at me where I'm at today. And if I can do it, like anybody else out there can do it. And that's kind of the message that I want to beat home. So anyways, if you guys are in your 20s like me, I mean, there's so much that we can do in order to build this out. And like, I'm just so happy that you have come in and seen at least part of that journey and understand sort of my goals and where I'm at and how I'm striving to get there. So anyways, thanks for checking out this video. Make sure you click that like button if you haven't, and have a great day.